Hello everyone, this is Gene and I'm back with another video. So I hope everybody's been enjoying their Labor Day. I've spent my Labor Day, well, laboring, mainly doing the laundry, doing some shopping to catch up on, basically those ever so annoying adulting things. Every once in a while I do have to put on my responsible adult scarf and get stuff done. But I came across this tweet and I find it interesting. Now, this is not meant to call out or to insult or demean in any way. It's more of wanting to understand. Because the way I perceive what this person has expressed in their tweet and the way they seem to understand it are two vastly different things. And I'm just wondering, is it a case of me being old and jaded? Is it a case of this person being sensitive? Is it both? Is it neither? So let me go into the tweet, right? It says here from Vampire Virgo at Jaded Combat. Honestly, MK11 has just gone toxic. I actually would agree with that, but for many different reasons, which I've covered ad nauseum on the channel, so I won't go over them again. Almost every time I play it if I'm not using a main and some mashers win. Mashers meaning, low skill fighting game players who just mash buttons and happen to win. Right? If it every time I play, if I'm not using a main and some mashers win, they teabag and fatal, meaning fatality, as if it's some ultimate victory. Or if I win, I get a message saying I'm scrubby and stupid. Also, I'm always carried by characters I don't even use often. Now, I will admit, I've never played video games online in a group setting. I was never quite comfortable with online gaming in that sense. So I cannot necessarily speak to the experience of playing video games online with a group of people. But I can speak to the experience of playing a video game, in particular Mortal Kombat, with a lot of people, with a group of people. Because, first of all, I grew up with a younger brother, so I always had a playmate, or an annoyance, depending on how you look at it, in that regard. But also, when I was in college, in the mid 2000s, I was part of an actual video game club. We called it the Gamers Club, and technically you could play any sort of game, but we all played video games pretty much. And one of the games that we played a lot of fighting games, was Mortal Kombat. At the time, it would have been classic Mortal Kombat, which usually I provided. And the current Mortal Kombat games at the time would have been games like Deadly Alliance, Deception, Armageddon, games like that, right? And we played those, and we played Street Fighter, and we played Tekken, probably like Tekken 4 or 5 at that time. We played Soul Calibur 2 and 3 and a bunch of other games, right? But mainly fighting games. And when I was in that group, which I will admit was predominantly male, the total group itself was actually fairly balanced gender-wise, but the ones who would like sit down and play fighting games, it was like a bunch of dudes and then me, right? Which is something I'm totally used to, right? But what they describe here as toxic, I describe as the gaming experience that I grew up with and very much enjoyed, right? Someone taunting you or teasing you, and then, of course, in Mortal Kombat, pulling off a fatality. That's quite literally the point of the fatality, is to gloat, is to sort of stick it to your, to the loser of the fight, right? Even in the older games, right? You lose a match. I remember playing MK3 and being terrified of losing because I knew that if I lost, that especially if I lost on certain stages, like I knew that if I lost, so the MK3 or trilogy, probably trilogy, but I knew that if I lost in certain stages, like say Shao Kahn's tower, right, or if I lost in certain stages like the subway, oh, the computer was definitely, they weren't even going to use the winning character's regular fatality. No, they were going to use the stage fatality, which for the subway was it would hit you with this uppercut and you would go through the building, come back down and land in the subway, and then a train runs you over. Or for Khan's tower, what would happen is, again, uppercut, and then your character is sent to the background well and just falls and falls and falls and screams until they land on a bed of spikes. To this day, the sound of Shiva screeching as she falls to her doom is embedded in my mind. Now, of course, I look back on such things and I find them very silly and goofy. But when it happened at the time, remember, I'm like between like 10 and 12 years old, depending on the game, I actually did find it quite frightening. So I had a sincere fear of losing on these stages because I knew what the computer was going to do. But that's literally the point of fatalities in a Mortal Kombat game. It's to gloat. It's to own your opponent. It's always been that way. That's literally the point. It is an ultimate victory. It's laughing in your opponent's face. So, I will admit, this is not a sentiment I can particularly relate to or wrap my head around. Now, I did leave a comment, and I'm going to go in the comments just to show a few of them. Assuming this thing works. Okay. Right, so here was my comment, just to be totally transparent. Trash talk has always been a part of fighting games and competitive gaming in general. The point of the fatality is to gloat, right? And I stand by that. But at the same time, I'm trying to understand, because there's a lot of people in this comment who seem to agree with this individual. You have one here saying, yeah, that's what happens to me every time I play this thing. I just stop playing online. When I miss the game, I play a classic tower. Another person saying, I stopped playing a while ago and I don't miss the toxicity of the online experience. We have another person saying, I be playing with Melina, Sindel, Scarlet, or Kitana. And then if I lose, they fatality and teabag, right? And then if I switch to Jade and win both matches, but then they get mad and fatality and teabag. Oh, they get mad when I do it. Okay. And again, most of the comments here are of the same nature, right? These people feeling that this type of behavior is toxic. Now, I will admit, all I'm going by is this person's tweet. There's no video or anything attached to actually demonstrate just how, just exactly what they're experiencing or going through. And again, this is not meant in any way to mock or make fun of their experience as a player. I understand that we're all different and that we all have different sensitivities, and this is by no means a reason or my attempt to make this person feel bad. But I do find this just very interesting, because my experience is that, I get a kick out of stuff like this. I've done stuff like this. I've taunted and teased whenever, I've been the victor, and I've had the same done to me when I'm the loser. So, to me, as I stated in my comment, this is just trash talk, which, while immature, is par of the course for a fighting game, and is just part of competitive gaming in general, or just a competitive endeavor in general, right? Sports in particular. Most sports are incredibly competitive. So, me having grown up watching sports, and especially watching pro wrestling, and having idolized these types of individuals, trash talk is not something that for the most part bothers me. But it seems to bother this person and others like them, to the point where they consider this a toxic online gaming environment. Now, again, I've never played online, but I have played Mortal Kombat and other fighting games in groups, especially groups of men who, tend to not care about your fifis. So, again, I'm just wondering, is this a case of me just being a bit too set in my ways? Or maybe this person has a point, and I'm commenting on something that I don't have personal experience with. I don't know. I'm honestly confused here. But regardless, while this person and myself will certainly have different opinions about the Mortal Kombat game experience, I do wish them well, and I hope that they find a game or they find a gaming space that is more to their liking. But to me, what they're describing here is what I would expect in any sort of fighting game space. I would actually be offended if someone didn't do these things to me. But that's just me. But anyway, let me know what you think, because this is most curious to me. All right, so I hope everybody's doing well and enjoying their Labor Day. Uh, so have fun, stay cool, and try not to let the real world drive you too mad. All right, see you around. Bye.